Hello, Mr. CG.
Hello. Should I look at the camera or should I look at you?
Look at the camera.
What's up, camera?
It's better looking than me. So, tell me, how is the knee?
The knee is good. Already kind of 90 degrees. I still have the crutches. I still need to run this when I'm walking around in the city because it's snowing outside and it's kind of dangerous. And they told me because they did a transplant, I guess, a ligament from a guy who was sleeping for life, a dead person, and they took from the cadaver the ligaments, and they told me we will know after 2 months, 2 to 3 months, the section from month 2 to month 3, if your body is accepting the ligaments or if you reject. They put me an extra ligament. If you guys saw my social media, the big scar I have on the left here, it's basically because they put another ligament to make sure the knee don't go that way with the ACL and sideways as well. That normally don't exist in the human body, but because I guess he bought the cadaver and he had some extras, he's like, let's make him a knee we don't have to fuck with for the rest of his life. Then something as well he had to deal with. He told me my legs was like a 60 years old leg from a grandpa because my knee was not in line, was not like this, you know, it was like this. Then I had arthrosis. Then he had to take all the arthros out. Then that was what was hurting the most for me. And he said, I definitely need to take care of that knee. But if we do it right, I don't need to have, when I'm 50 or 60, a plastic knee. Then that was pretty good news. Then we'll see. I feel good. I just feel super frustrated because I cannot do anything. It's snowing outside, big powder. I cannot do touring skiing. I just I got for Christmas Xbox One X, whatever, hashtag XX1, whatever what it is. It's fucking awesome 4K. Then I'm basically racing a little bit on cars because that's the only thing I like. And when you win some races, you just get money and you can buy more cars. Then I got addicted. Then I have pretty good cars now. If you go on the Xbox online, I'm a dirty CG. You can see my garage. Pretty pimp. I have a lot of race cars, nice cars, and they always Endurance plate and CG logo on it. It's pretty cool.
But I can vouch. CG.
Dirty CG.
CG who can't do anything is.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Feels miserable.
It's difficult when you're an athlete and you used to train, especially in the winter, and do a lot of stuff, and all of a sudden, nothing for 3 months.
Remind us, how many years did you be on 20 years? 20 years of career. How many years off the bike?
I think we count for 20 years. 20 years of racing, 20 years and plus, probably 21 or 22. I think if we count rehabilitation, hurting myself, hospital and rehab, like I say, I think it was around 3 years. Now a little bit more, 3 years and a couple months. But the more gnarly stuff, it was at the end of my career when I was still doing DH and downhill, when I broke my hip, when I broke twice my ligaments on the knee. I think on 5 years racing, I was 3 years trying to recover from those crashes.
Wow.
That was the price to pay, I guess, to come back to the game, race, break yourself again, because I mean I was getting older and your body don't accept as much anymore the crashes, and that was the deal. But that's, I guess, a lot of athletes in his position. If you ask Cameron Zing, same. If you ask a lot of athletes, we all have parts of time into the hospital. That's the way it is. You cannot race downhill or enduro thinking everything is going to be good. Sooner or later, we have to go through those kind of pain.
But those are big pains. But big, you got to recover. You're down, and like
mentally, yeah. Because
like you always say, I think you say something like you falling down is an accident,
Yeah.
staying down is a choice.
It's a choice, yeah.
But some people, let's talk about performance, because sometimes even those guys are like in the second, but something very small can fuck with your mind, and then you're...
We saw with some athletes, like look at Sam Hill. I mean, when he crashed and hurt himself the first time really bad, it took him for a little bit to come back to the top. And I mean, Sam Hill, we're talking about the king of downhill in my period when I was stopping. Then he was actually killing everyone by 9 or 10 seconds. And it took him for a while to come back, and he proved he could come back, and he did really good. And after he switched to enduro.
Yeah, you got like, first you had like Vuillaume, and then you had Samir.
Well, the same for Greg Minard. And I had Steve Peat too.
Yeah,
Steve Peat, Vuillaume, and after we had the Sam Hill and as well Greg Minard. Then those years in the beginning you have Steve Peat and Nicolas Vuillaume, like the doctor and Steve Peat was winning everything. Then it was hard to get on the podium and try to beat those guys. And after we had a new young generation coming with Sam Hill and Greg Minard. Greg Minard, we could actually see him coming because he was young, he was on global, and he was doing really good result already. And I was like, whoa, he's going to be. And today, he's still on the top. Yeah. Then
on flat pedals.
Yeah, no Greg, but Sam Hill, yeah. But yeah. Definitely, yeah, competitive field.
We say, okay, now today they're so close together. EWS are like within 1 second, and it's downhill like hundreds of seconds. But even back then, you were maybe not all the tracks, maybe.
Yeah, it was competition as well.
Close.
I mean, it was different time, but it looked like now. I mean, the bikes are better. The riders are training a lot more than we used to train. We used to train when we wanted to and when we feel threatened by another one. But those guys now, they don't have much of a down moment. They probably have like a couple of weeks off and they're back on the game, because they know like all the work have to be done in the winter, and more work you do in the winter, better you're going to feel during the season. And at least you know mentally that the work is done. And you know as well that now, if you don't do the work how you're supposed to be or should be done, you know that other people are working harder than you. Then yeah, and it's a real job now. I mean, before it was only few people to make a living out of it, but now everyone wants to get that living and get those sponsors. And it is for some sponsors, they want to have the fast guy, the winner, and the other guys want to have the guy who make the best video, the best social media and everything. It's a real work today. Before we didn't have social media, then you need to be performance or you need to be the king on the track. But now, a lot more possibility, because now we have social media, we have videos and all that. If you're not a good racer, but you're great at making video, yeah, you have a future in mountain biking. But before we didn't have that. You need to be competitive, or at least, I don't know, be funny or be a funny animal, or a little bit of both. People need to see you, yeah. Really.
But so how do you explain that it's always the same ones who win? And because at the end, that's what it is. It's getting so close. It's
getting closer, yeah. We have always 1 or 2 newcomers who come into the game, like we see it lately with Bruni, Vergier. I mean, those guys are coming in. But lately, we always facing like those big old dogs. Like, I mean, we cannot say old dogs to Aaron Green and stuff. But
even Sam Hill is not.
Yeah, even Sam Hill. Like for me, when I think about Sam Hill, I still think he's young, you know. But in the field of athletes and mountain biking, yeah, they're getting quite old, especially like Greggy. Sorry, Greg. But he's proving that the old dogs still have it. And it's getting closer. Time are getting super, super tight. But if you look at the result, if it's not any mechanical or something or a crash, they're still the same guys at the finish. And the same in enduro. And we saw Adrian this year, like fighting with Sam Hill, and I think it was amazing. It made like Auton as well. Mm-hmm. But I think what separates those people apart is people who are able to crash, injure themselves, and be able to come back right away into the top league. And I think this is amazing. Right now we can see in all the social media, we're looking at the transfer, who is going where. We saw that the Team GT went a little bit like boom everywhere. And then we see after another team with Anneke Betten, with Alchemy Bikes and Kelly. And we see Brooke McDonough come back to Mondraker. And we see as well the Chain Reaction team stopping downhill to get focus in enduro with Sam Hill. Then it's no more downhill for them anymore. That's basically what happened as well with Yeti a couple of years ago. They stopped downhill, they went to enduro with Jared Graves at the time, and now as
that messes with your head too when you switch teams and stuff.
Well, especially when a team at the end of the year, or if you're lucky, it's just before the end of the year. But most of the time when it happens like this, when a team decides to don't go DH or don't go enduro anymore, if they tell you in November, December, you know you're going to be able only to take the leftover, because all the transfer are done during Eurobike, just before the World Championship or just after, because everything have to move quick. Then if you're on the contract, you're going to go all the way to December 31st, but everything is done in September.
Yeah.
And you're going to sign, and after you can release your new team in January. But if your team tell you November or December, you're already off the good deal. You're going to take basically what's left over. Then it's complicated, I think, sometimes, and you can have 1 year, like it happened to me, happened to everyone, like you don't know if we're following, it happened to me with Cannondale when we was with Siemens and Volvo, and after Volvo stopped, we had Siemens, then I could jump back into the team because Cannondale really wanted to keep me. I got lucky on that, but if I had nothing and I didn't have a good season, it's like, we don't need GRACIA anymore, and what I will do, I will have to go and look for a team, but you're not in a strong position even if you have a good season, or even worse if you have a bad season, because it's November, December, everything is already signed, all the money is gone into the team, and doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to take what is left over. Or, it happened to me sometime, for maybe you think it's not worth it to get this money from a team when you don't believe into the team or the bike you're going to ride. It's better to say, okay, I'm going to go to a better bike, I'm not going to get any money, but I'm going to work my ass off to come back to the top. And I think this is why it's really challenging to tell yourself, all right, I'm going to have a dry season, I'm not going to make any money, I need to still pay those bills because it is a work and I'm not in school anymore, and you know, you still need to eat, you still need to travel, and you still need to be competitive and win. Then if you don't have a little bit of money coming in, what are you going to do? You have to go and work. It's hard to go and work or go to school and compete with your head perfectly clear for the winning program. Then all those kind of stuff definitely affect you. It is some people who can take it good as a challenge, and it is people who take it the opposite way and you just aim you down, and that's really difficult.
So even if we take a specific example of Gwyn, who changed teams, put a whole bike together, a whole team together, we don't even imagine all the work behind all this.
Wow, the truck, the mechanics, going to the races, all the expenses. I mean, it's a lot of things to deal. You have people.
He started from scratch.
He started from scratch. You have people who take care of this, but still, it's come from the old big envelope he got as well.
But
you know,
it's going back to the mind. That's,
oh yeah.
Of course, you got people, but you got to win.
Exactly, you got to win. The good thing is, in this situation, you choose your bike you feel comfortable with.
The parts.
The parts, the mechanic you want to have, the team manager you want to have, the setup you want to have at the races to make yourself comfortable to be able to compete. That's a good thing because you take everything you want to make your idea of best team.
Well, that's what you've been doing too.
Yeah,
pretty much also.
But it's a lot more work. You have to deal with the sponsor directly. That's a lot easier to go into a team than everything is lined up for you. Sure. You have your bike, you have the mechanic. The only thing you have to take care of is to make your bag with all your clothes to go to the airport, get that plane, someone bought the ticket for you, and go to a place when already the rental car is booked for you, or have someone who pick you up at the airport and go straight to the hotel. That's a lot easier. And I've been in both ways. Amazing. When you have nothing to do, just about thinking of winning the race and just doing the practice, your bike is ready, your mechanic is ready, the food is ready at lunch, the dinner is ready, someone pick you up, someone do your plane tickets, nothing. You just have to relax, train, you know the date you have your plane, you grab your clothes, you go and you compete. That's F1 style. Or you want to go the hard way, but you choose a lot more what you want, because sometimes in those big deals, maybe you don't like the suspension, maybe you don't like the tires, maybe you don't like something on the bike will really affect you because you know you know, feel comfortable with it, or maybe you know it's not the best right now in terms of material, but this you have to suck it in because you still need to perform because all this team is paying for you to be number one. But when you go the other way and you're like, all right, I'm making myself, but this is a lot more of this. You have to book your hotel, you have to book your, you have to book the whole thing. You have to make sure all the parts arrive in time to build your bike because you relate to yourself, and that's a lot harder.
But in a sport where, let's take the example of the last World Cup here, where Greg Miller loses because he breaks like half of a quarter of a second too much in the last corner.
Yeah, those two little thing,
And that's why that's a long track.
That's a long track, yeah. That's why racing is really exciting right now. It's super tight, and you never know. You know it's going to be the same bunch of guys going to be on the front, but you don't know who is going to make it.
Yeah.
Like Bruni at Worlds, you know, all the season he hurt himself, blah, blah, blah. He had to get back, you know, he didn't do a race. His leg was kind of fucked up, and you know, he get back, boom, boom, boom. He was getting to the top again, and boom, World Championship.
And
get the title.
Side, Mike, who just focused on that one race with the whole.
Mikana, yeah, that's hard as well. Like Mikana and the sister, you know, killing it during the season. They know they're going to be at home. They know that track so much that it's. In terms of probability of losing that race, is not much because
definitely not.
He had it. Only one guy was faster than him that day, but that guy is Bruni.
True.
It was kind of sad because I was for sure he was getting it, but I was really aiming. But can you imagine, like, oh yeah, you think about this, or the next, you know, the 2 years before, because you know the World Championship, the end of the year before, then you know, like, okay, it's at home. I'm going to train crazy just for that track. All the other races are just going to be, you know, to make me in shape and, you know, be there, try to don't hurt myself just for the last one, you know. And yeah, that was definitely difficult. And mentally it's hard too, because you are home, everyone is waiting for you, all the family is waiting for you, your own country is behind you, that the pressure, extra pressure you get, whew, I don't know if I could deal with it.
So if we're gonna summarize here, there's two things. One is you gotta push yourself up, so you gotta be better, but also every year, but also not let you down by one little thing, like a flat tire could fuck with you, anything could
your girlfriend. your girlfriend. No, but I mean, we're talking about girlfriend here, but I truly think that, because it happened to me as well. Less you have stuff in your head. I don't have much already, but less I have.
He's faking it. He's got a lot.
No, but you compete a lot better, definitely, when you don't have any problem. We can talk about heart problem, because we're all human. You always have someone, your girlfriend, or if everything is working good. If you don't have a girlfriend, it's almost better because you don't have to think about it. And you travel a lot and it's problem because she don't see you, you don't see her, you miss her, blah, blah, blah. All this kind of stuff, obviously, is getting into your head. If your family is perfect as well, it's a lot better. If you're fighting with your dad for this or that, or your mom, or she's not happy or what you do and stuff, always here, you always have it. But if everything is perfect, like everything is all right, you don't have to take care of did I pay the bill of my house before I left to go to South Africa to compete my World Cup? Did I do this? Did I send an SMS to my girlfriend to tell her I do miss her, and I'm still at the races, but I'm not going to look at other girls because I miss you so much and I love you, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. If you don't have it on your head because everything is so smooth, everything is perfect, it's clean, you're going to compete a lot better, obviously, because you're going to put all your energy in one thing, is to try to win the race. If you have all those parasites, I don't know how you say in English, parasite in your head with like pollution for you, you're going to have only 80% or 70% of your focus into that thing, and that's normal. We all face problems. We all have a personal problem.
No, it's that's what we call putting it all together, right?
Yeah.
It's not a secret. We're not really, but those guys are able constantly be
well, they're strong mentally.
because,
They can deal with things who are important for them, I guess, and they know how to repeat, or if they feel comfortable in one thing and they see at the end of the weekend they win, then we try to duplicate this all the time to make sure they can always be in that winning zone. And I always think about, in mountain biking, you're like, oh, how can that guy can be all the end of the season on the top 3, top 5, and the next year, only a couple months later, show up at the first race and he's 15. Because every year you need to restart again into going into your winning spiral. Because when you put your feet into the podium, you get the opportunity of like, all right, I made it. But you try to realize, how did I made it? How did I made it better than 2 weeks ago when I get 15 or 20? And all of a sudden, the weekend after, on top 3. You try to have a recipe, but it's not a recipe. It's just, you get confident, you have the blood in your mouth, you know you did the work, then it's like, and some people really work that way. They get on a podium once, you're for sure going to see them for next couple races at the top. But you need to put your feet into that spiral. Amen, amen. And after you want to stay there,
So what you're saying is not only like the mental game is so important, but even within the mental game, you have...
It don't come like this. I mean, it is a big deal. And mentally as well, like you always have to face this problem. When you're in the gate, you have like 10 seconds and you're like, oh, 5, and you have the beep, beep, beep. And that's where you have to realize and like come back to yourself and be like, that's mine, I'm going to smash those guys, I'm going to smash the time, this is my day. And you have to get out. And sometimes you're like, I am ready for this, or I am able to win today. When you already start to think that way, you're already like out. Then it's hard to be mentally competitive every weekend. And sometimes as well, you go to a track you don't really like, but you still have to be performing. Like you go to a race, you're like, oh, I fucking hate it. Or because you crashed the year before, or because whatever happened, or because you don't like, you know.
You split your back in half.
Yeah.
Practice right before.
Yeah, like Greg Minard last year. Like I mean, you have to be pretty strong mentally for Greg Minard to be able to go to the fastest and gnarly track into the World Cup, Vallnord, last run of the day, crash, basically almost break yourself, your bike tumble, and go and smash himself into a big pole of like compact wood, smash the frame, go down, have someone bring the bike, you walking down, your mechanic have 1 hour to put a brand new bike together you never rode, and you go straight back to the start, and here we go, game on.
Especially him who likes to have his bike dialed up to like...
Well, that's one strong thing about Greg Minard. I guess it's like more pressure he gets, tougher it is to win, more you have to count on him. If you bring probably Greg Minard to an event with not any consequences about overall racing, about the title at the end of the year, or because it's more like a friendly race, he probably not win.
Yeah.
But you bring him to a race everywhere in the world, you tell him, all right, if you win that last run, you will be the king of the world. And we put the goggles on and we fucking go flat out. Because it's right now, it's important to be good. And more pressure you get, and more, I guess, he get all that pressure into his body and go like, mix it to positive vibes like, I'm the king. That's, I think he function. Harder it is, better it's going to be, I think.
So to finish with the question of who is going to win the... I guess we could put bets, but basically, is there a new dog, or do you think it's going to be...
I think the good old same. I think it's going to be Green, Minard, Bruni, Vergier. We're going to have some young dogs like,
Maybe 1 or 2 races.
Yeah, 1 or 2 races, but the full year, I think you can basically put the same guys on the plate, really. Even if they change bike and stuff, I'm really interested to see what Danny Hart is going to do, because it was hard for him last year. It couldn't go through. But
Mina must be so pissed too, because
Greg was unlucky at the end, but definitely, no, it's good. You can basically put the same guys in. I think so. It's just going to be a different order, I guess, or just little changes. Same for enduro. Just Sam Hill, definitely. He know how to win a race now. He know how to win enduro World Series. You know, like it's a lot more training as well. And he's going to probably win with flat pedals again, just to make sure he don't make it too easy for him to go and SPDs. Oh, I guess maybe he's going to bring a new generation of enduro guys who's going to ride flat pedals, and we're going to see changes. But I don't know, only few people can ride flat pedals for so many kilometers during the year and be able to win the overall. It takes only few people in the live mountain bike industry who can do things like this. Like Sam Hill is one of them.
I'm no Sam Hill, but I know how much it hurts to climb on flat pedals.
Oh, I mean, you're just pushing on flat pedals. You're not doing the full roll, like pulling up, you know, like you're just going like, then corners are probably better because you don't have to think about unclipping, but I mean, when it's really bumpy and you have less suspension on the enduro bike, you know, like you're like, your feet are flying away. I mean, and when you're tired, I mean, we're not talking about 2 or 3 minutes stage run. Sometimes they'll have 8, 10 or 12 minutes. I mean, your feet are probably flying off the pedals and you're like, probably riding the top tube of your bike, like, is that a good idea, flat pedals? I don't know, only a few guys can do it, and Sam is one of them, and it's, I think, amazing. And we're going to see maybe Josh Bryson as well doing some more enduros. It will be sick. His own way, though. With the glasses, he just bought from the hardware store, you know, because he don't have any glasses.
He shaved his legs.
No, I don't think he's going to. Josh is going to shave his legs. I think he's going to be more busy, like hanging out on the track and just ride smooth and still do a killer time. Then no, but I think you can put, like I say, in downhill and enduro, put the same guys, kind of different order, but the top 5 is not going to change much. And I think you can put one of the 2 young comer doing some really good top 10 or maybe a top 5 or 6. But it would take them a little bit more time to be able to be like those dogs, being able to be perform every weekend. Because it take a while to be able to perform every weekend into the World Cup. Because the World Cup is a World Cup, you know, with all the best guys in the world, it's the different track around the world. And I know it takes sometimes 3, 4, 5 years to be able to get used to all that pressure, you know, like, can you imagine? You show up, I mean, you're a young comer, you come with your bike, you win everything in your country, you kill everyone by 10 seconds, you go to the first World Cup and you don't pass the top 80 semi-final. And you think you're one of the best guys. Can you imagine? You're at the top of the hill, you are next to Loic Bruni, Greg Minard, and you're like, you look at those guys, you look on video, on magazines, on interview, and you're like, you're the king of your country, you go there, you're like, I'm going to smash the thing, and you don't pass the semi-final because it's tough to be in the top 80. You break your chain or whatever, you crash in one corner, I'm good enough, you pedal, you pass the finish, you look back the time, you're like, 110, and you're like, yeah, you basically, like, you go back home and you esteem of yourself just go like all the way down. When you think you're the king in your country, you're like, I win every weekend. I smash those guys by 10 seconds. I can lose the chain. I beat them. You go to the World Cup and you're like, you know, like the bucket of cold water on your head. You're like, and you just want to go to your truck and just start to beat up yourself. You're like, what I've done.
Very good.
Yeah, that's my theory.
Right.
It happens and I punch myself sometimes in the cover. What the fuck did I do?
Merci, Monsieur Gracia.
De rien.